Good morning, children. Let us begin with a new session in English. In today's session, you are going to study the second part of the poem The Brook by Alfred Lord Tennyson. In the previous session, you have already completed the first six stanzas of the poem The Brook. Now, let's continue the remaining stanzas. I hope you all will enjoy. Here, you will see the textual image of the poem The Brook. I request all of you to read it silently. Now let me recite the poem for you. I went about and in and out, with here a blossom sailing, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling, and here and there a foamy flake upon me as I travel, with many a silvery water break above the golden gravel, and draw them all along and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. I steal by lawns and grassy plots, I slide by hazel covers, I move the sweet forget-me-nots that grow for happy lovers. I slip, I slide, I gloom, I glance among my skimming swallows. I make the netted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. I murmur under moon and stars in brambly wildernesses. I linger by my shingly bars, I loiter round my cresses. And out and again I curve and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Now let's study each stanza in detail. Stanza 7. I went about and in and out, with here a blossom sailing, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling. As you know, the brook on its way had lots of ups and downs or lots of obstacles, and in its winding movement, it often falls from heights and goes in deep water and comes out to continue to flow as whatever obstacles or whatever problems it is having, it is trying to overcome all the problems and again continuing the journey. The brook carries blossoms on its way. Along with the brook, there go a lot of fishes like lusty trout and grayling. Here is a new word for you, trout or grayling. It's a kind of freshwater fish. Now, let's move on to the eighth stanza of the poem. And here and there a foamy flake upon me as I travel, with many a silvery water break above the golden gravel. As you know, when the brook moves, the waves clash with each other and creates bubbles, and those bubbles in group make pieces of forms there. The brook moves through different curves and the clashes creates silvery water break. These forms and silvery water break can be visible on the surface of the water. And at the base of the brook there are golden colored stones too. I hope the stanza is very clear to you. Here comes the ninth stanza of the poem. And draw them all along and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Here you know the brook is carrying whatever it meets on its way, or it takes the obstacles and it moves there. It carries fishes, forms, and flowers with it to join the brimming river. You know that the brook is having its own destination. What is the destination of the brook? Yes, it is moving to reach the brimming river. So when it goes, it takes all those things and then it is traveling to join the river. And then the refrain comes. So what is that? Meaning the eternal state of the river to that of the transient one of humans. Or we can say that the brook is immortal. It is lasting forever. It is moving forever. Whereas we, the humans, are mortal. We are yielded to death or decline. I hope this answer is very clear to you. Now let's move on to the 10th stanza of the poem. I steal by lawns and grassy plots. I slide by hazel covers. I move the sweet forget-me-nots that grow for happy lovers. The brook here moves secretly. The brook secretly moves through the grassy plots and lawns and moves swiftly by the bushy hazel trees. The brook shakes and sweets forget-me-nots flowers which grow for happy lovers. Or this is symbolic for the happy lovers. So you know that the brook is moving in a stealing manner or in a very secret manner. It moves through the lawns and grassy plots. It seems that it is going to find out something there, and it moves the sweet forget-me-nots plants there that grow for happy loves. Here you have some new words. Steal. Steal means move along slowly or calmly or quietly. Forget-me-nots, flowering plants with clusters of small blue flowers. Here you have the 11th stanza of the poem. I slip, I slide, I gloom, I glance among my skimming swallows. I make the netted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. The brook moves along, making different movements like slipping, sliding, moving through darkness, and so on. And there we find swallow birds to skim on the surface of water for food. The brook waves create a net-like structure on which the sunshine sparkles, and it seems to us as if the sunbeams are dancing. That is called I make the netted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. Here you have some new words. Skimming. What do you mean by skimming? Skimming means moving quickly and lightly over a surface. Then comes swallows. I think the word is very familiar to you. Graceful, small, swift-flying birds. Let's move on to the 12th stanza of the poem. I murmur under moon and stars in Bramley wilderness. I linger by my shrinkly baths. I loiter round my cresses. At night, under the moon and stars, the brook goes on moving, creating murmuring sound through the natural lands where thorny bushes grow. You know that the brook is eternal. It moves forever. I go on forever. That is the refrain used in this poem. And here it is moving not only in the morning, it moves all through the day, all through the night, it moves there. At night, under the moon and stars, the brook goes on moving, creating murmuring sound through the natural lands where thorny bushes grow. The brook often lingers because of the stones on the way, or there are stones to block its way, but still it moves. The brook water moves purposelessly around plants named cresses. Here you have some new words. Brambly. Brambly means thorny. Then shingly. What do you mean by shingly? Shingly means pebbly or stony. Cressus. Cressus means it's a type of plants with thin stems and very small leaves that grow in water, used in salads and sandwiches. Now let's move on to the last stanza of the poem, The Brook. Stanza 13. And out again I curve and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. After facing the obstacles, the brook again takes a curve and starts flowing to join the brimming river. You know, it is always focusing onto its destination to join the river. The last two lines refer to the refrain, meaning the eternal state of the brook and transient states of the humans. Or, as you know, the brook is immortal, it is lasting forever, it never ends its journey, whereas we humans are mortal. We are always yielded to death or decline. Now, let's move on to the summary of the poem The Brook. The poem is full of symbolism. The brook represents the life of a man. From birth till adulthood, man's life is full of activities. Similarly, the brook is quite active and noisy from birth till it joins a river and becomes one with it. After joining the river, it becomes quite peaceful and flows quietly. Similarly, after becoming mature, an adult man also becomes calmer and more composed. In spite of the similarities between man and the brook, there is one stark dissimilarity also, which the brook keeps telling the readers frequently in the refrain. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. This refrain contrasts man's mortal existence with the brook's immortal life. The brook also teaches us many important lessons of life. It teaches us the lesson of determinedly moving on, overcoming all obstacles, and finding a detour round rock-ridden course. Similarly, a man must move towards his goal like a river or a brook if he is to achieve his goals. His path may be full of obstacles, but he must keep moving like a brook. As the brook starts its journey from high mountains, on its way to the river, it flows down many valleys, hills, slips between many ridges, flows by many villages, towns, and cities, passing under many bridges. Ultimately, it joins the brimming river. Similarly, man must pass by and overcome many obstacles before reaching his goal or destination. So, Brook teaches us the lesson of perseverance, flowing energetically despite all obstacles and never giving up. I hope now the poem The Brook is very clear to you all. Now let us discuss about the poetic devices or literary devices used in the poem The Brook. I think you would have already learnt about the poetic devices in the first lesson, Pirate Story. Poetic devices are often called as figures of speech, which we are using in poetry to make the poem more beautiful or attractive, or to give a rhythmic effect to the poem. The brook is the best example for poetic devices. Many poetic devices are used in the poem Brook. Let us discuss a few. First one, personification. Personification is a poetic device which attributes human characteristics to an inanimate object, animal, or abstract idea. You know the whole poem, the brook is personified or the brook itself is a speaker. Then comes repetition. Repetition is the simple repeating of a word within a short space of words with no particular placement of the words to secure emphasis. For example, men may come and men may go. Then comes a refrain. Refrain is a poetic device in which a line or group of lines that regularly repeat, usually at the end of a stanza in a poem or at the end of a verse in a song. For example, you know the highlighting line of the poem, but I go on forever. There is a similarity or there are some differences between a refrain and repetition. Refrain is a type of repetition, but it's somewhat different from repetition. Refrain is a repetition of usually a line or a phrase or two or three lines or even words in a poem. Whereas repetition, on the other hand, involves repetition of words, phrases, syllables, or even sounds in a full piece, or it may occur at the end of a stanza. Now let's move on to the next literary device used in this poem, anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or words at the beginning of successive phrases, clauses, or lines to create a sonic effect. For example, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling. Then comes alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in two or more neighboring words or syllables. For example, among my skimming swallows, sound is repeating. I hope the poetic devices are very clear to you all. This slide gives you the textual image of an exercise given in your textbook. The poet has used a lot of words that describe some sound or movement. Read these words and phrases from the poem and write them in suitable columns. You can see the words babble, bicker, chatter, hurry, linger, loiter, murmur, sailing, skimming, slide, steal by, and range about. So here you are requested to make these words into two columns there. First column sound words and the next column movement words. When you see the words, you can understand which are the sound words used here and which are the movement words used here. I request all of you to do the answers in your textbook. Now, let's see the answers. Here you have the answers for the exercise given in the previous slides. I hope you all would have made the answers correct. Thank you, my dear children. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.